And welcome to Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. As our name suggests, we are a community which honors many paths to the divine. And to support this vision, we invite a different speaker to share their story each week. Today, John Schneider is our speaker, and Lisa Seri will be offering the healing meditation. My name is Jasmine Phoenix. I'm a former president and current board member. And so I have an invocation for this morning to bring us into this time and space together for the dedicated purpose of having a community spiritual experience. Divine Spirit, loving Mother, Father, God, we are most grateful for this extraordinary day, for our time together, for our spiritual selves, for our physical selves, and for all that we share together and then beam out into the world that we share. Amen. We have a statement of intent, which I am going to read to you. This is a church where we can worship the God of our own understanding, a place to experience joy and be uplifted, a place where we can gain strength and inspiration to share with all whom we meet throughout the week. We invite you to join us in this celebration of life, to nourish your spirit and to enjoy the company of kindred souls. And having said that, yes, indeed, we are here to share the company of kindred souls. So I am going to invite us to greet one another with a smile, a handshake, or a hug. If you would prefer to maintain social distance, simply remain seated. Now, I know that we are a huggy, touchy-feely group, but I would like to get this show on the road. On the road again. Can't wait to be back on the road again. You don't want me to sing. Thank you, Carol. We are, at least some of us, are going to sing our opening hymn. Yoo-hoo!
Sit down, everybody. We have to stand up, everyone. We have to
Let there be peace. The words are on the white card if you need it.
Is number 6, Morning Has Broken.
Is that Wings of Song? Okay.
Yeah. Ready?
Yes. And you may be seated. Carol, you have an announcement?
I do. Next week, Barbara Whiff will be here. I'm so excited, and I know she wanted to do some music. I need to get in touch with her like ASAP tomorrow. And on the next Sunday, Robert Dubell will be here, and he's an intuitive counselor since 1976, and just briefly, he helps individuals and groups to explore their multidimensional selves, including past lives, for enhanced joy and fulfillment in this one, et cetera, et cetera. After his talk, on a week from Sunday, he wants to do a 2-hour workshop, and it's $30. And so, Lisa, you were going to talk with him and deal with the key and the whatever for that, you said. And then he wanted to do this other workshop. I have no clue where it would be. Counseling sessions, they're between $70 for a half hour and $125 for an hour and $180 for 90 minutes. But anyway, he has a phone number here and a website here, and I have information here. There's like 6 copies. Anybody interested is right here. And I have to leave early because I have to go to work. And I just want another quick little thing. It's regarding my daughter. Oh my gosh, she qualified for Worlds. She and Dave, they drove to Milwaukee a few days ago, and she did triathlon there. And she is now qualified for Team USA. My daughter. I feel like she's.
Who is being married later this month?
Pardon me?
Who is being
And
married?
she's getting married in 2 weeks in Copper Harbor, Michigan. Tiffany Carey. Oh my goodness, sorry. And she and Dave are going to Puerto Verdera, Spain next, it'll be a year from September, to do her thing with Team USA, and maybe we'll see her on TV. And she was with Team USA in 2010, 22 years ago. She's 22 years older. And she qualified. And she was, 16 out of 169 or 96, whatever. That's my kid. Oh my God. So I'm just like,
Great genes.
Thank you.
Great genes, Carol. I have a couple of announcements. One of them is a gentle request. Things tend to accumulate here at church. People bring in statues and plaques and things that they think would be appropriate for our atmosphere. And when Lisa and I were here on Thursday doing some stuff for the fire marshal, I noticed we had quite a collection of statuary here on the organ. So I edited it a little bit. I didn't dispose of any. They just haven't gone to live in the meditation room. But please think twice before you bring things in, because they do. Other people are also bringing things in, and we just don't need all of them. So thank you. And the other one is going to be very, very brief. I'm just reminding you that we do have to face the fact that at the end of October, we will be having an annual meeting, and we will need to have probably some new folks for our Board of Trustees, because a lot of us have terms that are expiring. So if you feel that you may be able to serve, please talk to Carol or any board member. I'm not going to minimize the commitment, but neither does it take a huge amount of time. So, but somebody has to do the work to keep us going. So please consider whether you can be one of those people for a year or two, preferably 2. So, Sue, do you want to do some announcements for us?
Good morning, everybody. Just please remember to turn your phones on mute or do not disturb. Thank you very much. We do have a suggestion box in the back. You can always put in a comment or whatever. Email us at interfaith on 9th Street, that's the number 9th Street, at gmail.com. You can call us, leave a voicemail, or contact a board member. We need your ideas, we need your input, we need your suggestions, we need your comments. We want to know if you have somebody in mind that you'd love to have speak here or do a meditation here. So please make sure that you let us know how we're doing. Check out the website, Facebook, and newsletter. Those are other ways to get in touch with us and to find out what's going on. If you missed or would like to re-watch a service, you can check us out on YouTube. We do record all our services. We may not be Zooming all the time anymore, but we are putting them out on YouTube. Just give us a few days after the service so you can re-watch it or watch it for the first time. One service per month is dedicated to Unity, and that will be the last Sunday of each month. And the Unity book discussion group is on Tuesdays this summer, right? Yes. And you had it last Tuesday? Yes. 6 o'clock. Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock. So be here or be on Zoom or be square. All right. consider joining our summer gardening group. However, we did get some people out there working on the garden. Hobbs, our guy who does our lawn, went out and did some beautiful weeding for us, and we thank him greatly for that. And also, don't forget to come and join us for coffee and sweets afterwards, because we always have sweets. And then on the third Sunday, we have potluck. The last thing I want to mention is that we do have our prayer bowl. If you have not already or would like to put an intention in mentally or physically, you may do so. We do pray over those and meditate over those prayer intentions throughout the service. And does anybody have any prayer requests at this time? Obviously, we want to pray for the country and for Ukraine and for other big things that are happening. The people in Kentucky, all of the big things that are happening. Let's hope everybody makes it through the best way we can. Thanks, everybody.
I want to mention once again that we are looking for a new home for our organ. As we move towards unity, we are an evolving ministry at this point in time. We feel that the organ is something that we will not be taking forward with us. It's not used very much, and it doesn't seem to fit our new identity. As I have mentioned here before, and as you can probably imagine, church, our organs are not a hot commodity. And so we have tried we've tried schools and institutions. We are really, really hoping that we can find someone or somewhere who could give the organ a home, because we do not want this, or speaking for myself, and I hope the rest of us, do not want this instrument to end up at the recycling center on Rice Lake Road getting ruined by the elements. So, and that would be a last resort, but if we cannot find anything else to do with it, I will be very sad if that day comes. But in the meantime, if you can help us to find a new home for it, that would be absolutely awesome. So, thank you. All right, this morning we are going to do the unity principles. We say these principles together, and they should be on a little piece of paper in the pew near you. God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. There is power in affirmative prayer, which we believe increases our awareness of God. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. Would someone please bring forward the healing bowl? And as Sue said, the bowl should be at the back of the room earlier in the service, so that people can add items to it. Then we bring it up so that it's here to be a part of our healing meditation. And so now we will sing hymn number 74 in the silence. Lisa will then offer our healing meditation, followed by John's talk this morning.
If everyone will just place their feet upon the ground, open the soles of your feet to the earth, and take a soft and gentle breath. And recall maybe a walk through the grass, barefoot some summer, long ago or recently. Maybe sometime when you walked along a creek side on the rocks, or something softer like the sand, or you felt the earth beneath your feet, literally. No shoes, no socks, no separation. Your earth and your feet meeting. Maybe the mud between your toes squishing warmly up. Some people may say, ooh, but I say, ooh. Just feel the earth beneath your feet in whatever way. And draw that earth energy up into your body, up through your ankles, and your shins, and your knees, your thighs, your hips, your pelvic bowl. Let it fill your belly. Feel the earth enter into your heart, the chamber of your heart. Draw it up with your breath and out gently through your hands. And just allow that gentle rhythm, that pulsing of the earth to come up through your body. Feel your sense of reconnection to the earth. And then soften the crown of your head and open it to the skies, the constellations, the galaxies, the cosmos, way out there where now the Webb and Hubble telescopes show us the vast wonders of the cosmos. Our galaxy is one among millions. Those stars are stars among our star, the sun. The sun and the radiance it produces is our radiance. Allow yourself the recognition of that truth. Hold yourself not separate from the totality of the universe. Seek that connection with the stars. Take a breath. Draw the light in from those galaxies deep into your heart, through the crown of your head, through your third eye, down through your throat chakra, into that cauldron, your chest, and your chamber of the heart. Draw in a breath. Feel the immensity of which you are a part. Feel that grounded sense of connection to the earth. And then draw from above and below with your breath. Draw from above and below into the heart and out through your hands. Feel your connection to each other. Feel your connection to the space around you, the space within you. Feel that sense of space until there's no separation between the inside and the outside. Feel those gentle electromagnetic pulses and waves and vibrations that rise up through the earth. Feel them become coherent with your body and your being and your heart. And feel that ever-present light of those constellations and those galaxies and those bright solar waves coming into your body. And you're just breathing in and out. Allowing it to mix with all of your cells and all of your molecules, all of the atoms and all of the little waves and particles of light that you are as you manifest into this body at this point, in this time, in this moment. And gently allow yourself to retain every recollection and remembrance of where you've just allowed your breath to bring you, and simultaneously gently wriggle your toes right there on the earth, and wiggle your sit bones just a little, and feel your spine, and softly open your eyes and return here to this holy moment.
It's always challenging to come back from that stuff. Try to be calm because I'm really excited. Oh, man, thank you. I'm always like floating away. And now I have to focus and share all these things that I've been stirring up for the last couple days to share this really exciting information with you guys. Bring myself back to all that. Not that I'd rather be floating out in infinite space, but maybe, I don't know. Man, though that is necessary, I'm not sure that I want that. I kind of like being out there. Try to marry the two. I think that's our purpose as being humans on this planet, is to marry that being aware of our connection and presence in the totality while here on earth with our eyes open, moving through the world. I was having this conversation with my friend at work the other day and talking about what we spoke about last time I was here, the Maharishi effect, and the fact that when we're focusing on peace and love in our hearts, we affect the world around us. And he's like, oh, so, what happens after? Like then that effect is no longer present and everything goes back to chaos, and that's true. And the point is to learn how to practice with our eyes open. And that's like where the rubber meets the road, as it were. And to my estimation, it's about the daily practice of connecting with that every day, being lost in all of space and in our connection with the infinite presence and with the totality of the universe. And through doing that, we condition our attention and our awareness to that. A little bit of practice of connecting with that every day, it carries over into our day as we move through it. I find for me, if I connect with that for a period of time every morning, then the more days that I stack one after another where I do that practice consistently, the longer that feeling and that state of being stays with me throughout the day. And if I can practice it again in the evening time, then I'm kind of like, that is the sandwich, if I can make that analogy, of being in that state. And I kind of complete a cycle of that day. And the more of those days that I stack on each other, then I'm able to live in that place longer throughout my day. And I think that's our work, that's if we care to affect the world around us in a positive way, and if we care to affect our own lives in a positive way, That is the path. And today I wanted to share with you guys emotional mastery and the freedom that comes from mastering our emotional states, which is totally possible, by the way. People have done it. We can do it. It's a practice. It takes some time, and it is possible. It's been said that when the two become one, you will say to the mountain, move, and it will be moved. And if I may be so bold as to suggest that the two that the Master is speaking of are thoughts and emotions, heart and mind. And we know scientifically that when we can get our brain and our hearts coherent with one another, then we create a coherent electromagnetic field around us, and we bring harmony into the world around us. It's a measurable scientific fact, which to my mind is the greatest proof that it works and it matters. Everything we think and feel totally matters. And our emotions, it seems to me that our emotions are byproducts of our thoughts. And the world comes at us, and we have a thought about what's happening, and we have a corresponding emotion to that thought. And we kind of get conditioned through that thinking, feeling loop that we're wrapped up in all the time. And so the freedom in our emotions, it seems, comes from choosing our thoughts about things and choosing where we want to put our attention with stuff. And it's so easy to get wrapped up in the past. We're responding to emotions based on how we have in the past. And that may have been helpful for survival or something. Often it's not that helpful. You know, we're often just operating from addictions. We're addicted to our emotional states. And we're literally addicted chemically in our bodies from our emotional states. And if we can choose a different thought about what's happening, we can stimulate different emotions in our bodies and create a new addiction and potentially get addicted to loving, harmonious thoughts. I'm surprised that this isn't more common knowledge. I guess, I don't know, I'm kind of wrapped up in this stuff all the time, and so to me, it's sort of just the way it is. And so when I find myself in the world and I see people exploding about things that they totally cannot control, and knowing how important their thoughts and their emotions are to their own life experience and to the world around them, how they're affecting the larger whole, it's simultaneously saddening and also exciting, oddly, to know that they're in control and they're relinquishing that control. And I came out of the co-op the other day and I ran into an old acquaintance through town, and he asked me how I was doing. I said, I'm doing great. He was like, oh, why is that? Just, yeah, right? I reacted similarly. I am choosing to put my attention on things that I love and choosing emotional responses that feel good to me and choosing to do things that kind of foster those things and doing my best to make good choices with my thoughts, my attention, my emotions, and my time. And I kind of followed it up with, emotions are a choice, you know. And he kind of, well, not always. And I thought, oh, all right, bless you, man. My response to that is, okay, very well. It's your world. We're just living in it. Be well. Have a good day. I don't have any interest in arguing with somebody about that, though it reminded me that there is so much lack of awareness in the power of guiding our emotional responses to things and the fact that we have a choice in the matter. I think it might have been the 4 agreements that blew it wide open for me. I don't know, it might have been the part about don't take things personally, and the fact that, people are kind of coming at us how they're coming at us, and that's sort of the result of their head and their world and their life experience, and has nothing to do with us. And it's up to us to choose how we want to respond to that, knowing that information, that that's their world, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. They're painting me based on their personal experience, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. Am I doing my best? Am I being truthful with my word as much as I possibly can? Okay, I'm off the hook. As long as I do my best and show up as authentically to my heart and my true self as I possibly can, that's all I can do. And how others care to respond to me is up to them. And I love the freedom that comes in knowing that information. It is infinitely freeing to me to know that I get to choose how I respond in the moment. And that I can program myself to respond differently through that practice. That's the most, I feel it's the most empowering thing, the empowering tool that we have at our disposal in this life experience, is that the more that I choose my emotional response to a thing, the more that I will condition my body to respond to that thing in that way in the future when that shows up again. And it is like a cycle, isn't it? An experience shows up for me. I think a thought about it. I have a feeling about it. That feeling produces chemicals in my hypothalamus that go to the cells in my body that create a physical response in my body. The cells in my body get addicted to those chemicals because the more that I think those thoughts and feel those feelings and produce those chemicals, the more that my cells make receptor sites to receive more of those chemicals. Every time I feel that feeling, my cells are producing more sites to get more of those chemicals. And if I don't have that feeling for a period of time, those cells send out signals to my brain to say, hey, we need a little more of this thing that we're accustomed to having. Where our receptor sites are getting a little dry, let's get a little bit more of that. And it conjures up images and memories and all kinds of things related to whatever that feeling is that it's addicted to. And incidentally, consequently, adversely, my cells will get addicted to other chemicals, and I can starve them of those feelings if they don't serve me by not putting my attention on those things and not conjuring up those chemicals and conjuring up something else instead. And it's all chemical responses in the brain and the body. It's all electrical signals and like a neural net that rewires itself if we choose to break those cycles and those connections, right? I'm responding to the moment in patterns that I've cultivated and that I've kind of made concrete in my brain. Concrete's a little, but they're plastic, right? Like they get married to each other and they want to stay there. But if I notice that the feeling that I don't want to be feeling anymore is coming up, and I can stop the thought process that's related to those feelings, then I can produce different chemicals. And if I can choose a different thinking process, I can break up the neural wiring that's happening through repetition and time and doing it over and over again every time it pops up. And I can create new neural connections to respond in a different way. And then that'll produce different chemicals that my cells will get addicted to. They can get addicted to chemicals of peace and acceptance and love and understanding. And then when I meet with my friend and I remind him that he can choose his emotional response to the moment, and he looks at me puzzled and says, not always, man. I can respond differently instead of with judgment. Or maybe more importantly, coworkers, people that are in our life persistently, every single day we're reacting the same way to these people in these moments. I don't want to respond that way. I want to be the master of my emotional state. I want to be unaffected by the world around me and be able to live in a state of peace. That is my goal and my intention. And we know that it's possible. People have exemplified that in the past. And it seems that they did it through this process. When we're triggered by our environment and things are coming at us and we're responding in the same familiar ways, it's our duty, it's our job, it's our freedom to make a new choice in that moment and to choose to respond differently to the moment. It's the same situation coming in a different form, in a different package, and I am accustomed to responding reactionarily. And I can't do anything about this. And I'm likely making a bunch of assumptions and judgments about this thing that are probably not true. I'm inventing scenarios in my head as to why this is happening and who these people are and who do they, blah, 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 blah. And it's all just a story I'm making up. Am I right? Probably not. And it's producing chemicals and emotions in my body that I don't want to experience. So I might as well speculate and imagine in the positive and in the affirmative and with love and compassion, and imagine a scenario that conjures up feelings of love and compassion, and choosing to come at the moment a little differently. And every time that I start to feel that little twitch of something I don't want to experience, I'm empowered with this information. And I get to stop that and, oh, okay, this is happening again. All right, how do I want to feel in this situation? That's the question. How do I want to feel in this situation? It seems to me that our entire life is our emotional experience. The quality of our life is our emotional experience. At the end of the day, why did I have a good day? Because I felt good. Why did I have a bad day? Because I felt bad. And my feelings are a choice. Okay. So the more that I can choose to respond positively throughout my day, through all those little moments that show up, the better that my days go. And I stack those days on one after another by practicing that every day. And that leads to a good and happy life. And one day I'm hanging it all up, looking back on it all, realizing that I chose good and positive emotions more than bad ones. And regardless of how that affects the field around me and others around me, and that is an added bonus because that absolutely does happen, it all is affected, I had a positive experience. And I know that my living in a positive state, expressing positive energy, for me, first, selfishly, I want to feel good now. It affects others in a positive way too. Icing on the cake. Seems like that's our duty. We're all connected, we all affect each other. It's our personal responsibility to affect the field in a positive way. The field loves us. The world around us loves us. It's breathing our body right now. It's beating our heart. It must love us. It seems like a great disservice to respond to that with anything other than love and gratitude, and with anything other than peace and acceptance in the moment. If I'm judging the world and living in a negative state, I don't see what greater sin there could possibly be to the whole that loves me, that's beating my heart and breathing my lungs. I'm humbled by that love. It's so large and forgiving and accepting, and no matter what I do, it keeps beating my heart and breathing my lungs. I'm not doing that. That's just what's happening. It loves me enough to do that. And it's my duty and honor to reciprocate that love, and to love my body also, and to love the others around me that are also expressions of that loving force, to love everything around me. And then the gifts that come from that state of being, that emotional state ripples out into the universe around us and affects the field. We're electromagnetic energy fields operating in a larger electromagnetic energy field. And everything is a vibrational expression. And like vibrations harmonize with like vibrations. Is it not a scientific fact that this is the way it is? Can we not measure the energy of our bodies? Can we not measure the energy of our brains when our brains are in a coherent state? Does that energy not ripple out larger and in a more coherent fashion? Can we not measure the energy of our heart in that same way? It's a fact. Can we not measure the energy of this room before we start meditating and see random ones and zeros flying all over the place, and then measure that energy after we meditate and see more harmony and more order in that chaos? It's a measurable fact. Everything we think and feel matters, and we're empowered with that. That is our ability to create our lives and to create the world around us. First, with how we feel right now. I get to create how I want to feel right now. Every single moment, I always have that choice. There are no exceptions. I can choose to let things affect me. There are crazy things that happen in the world that come into my world, our worlds, and are seemingly insurmountable emotionally. How could I possibly choose joy and positivity in this moment? And it might be our greatest work, and it might be the most impossible task. And there still is a choice in that, regardless of what it is. Some problems are bigger than others. Some moments are larger than others. And we still have that choice. There is a way to see it, to zoom out far enough to be able to get a 30,000-foot view, to be able to stir up some sense of, if nothing else, acceptance. I can't do anything about what's showing up right now, but I can choose to accept it. It seems to me that there's perfect harmony and order in the universe. Nothing in life wastes anything. Everything feeds something else. It's all contributing to a larger whole. And as I look about the totality of the universe, it looks pretty harmonious to me. It's all acting in some kind of harmonious fashion. Everything is contributing to everything else in some way. And so if that's true in the largest possible infinite universal sense, it must be true in this little minuscule moment that's showing up for me, that's a passing flicker in eternity that seems so huge to me. It's my world right now, whatever this situation is. And yet in that there is perfect harmony and order if I choose to see it somehow. And if I can see, or at least remind myself that this situation that I don't want is perfectly harmonious and in perfect order in some larger sense, I can get some peace with that. And that peace can lead to acceptance. And that acceptance can lead to gratitude for the thing. And that gratitude can lead to love. And the cycle continues. I'm constantly doing my best to interpret my environment in a way that leads me to a loving feeling. And it's a working of the thing, right? I'm thinking things that lead to other things, that lead to other things that finally get me to a place of love and acceptance. And that's my daily work and my attention, and it's exhausting. It's truly, I'm so tired. And it's so worth it. I lay down in bed that night. How was that one? Oh, dude, I did it. Oh, I did it. That thing came at me, and there was all this chaos, and I brought it back into order in myself. I can't do anything about it out there necessarily, unless I can, and then we do. But if I can't do anything actively to affect it, I can do something about it inside of me. And then I can walk away from that feeling with an open heart and feeling love and compassion and acceptance. Remember the field. Remember that your thoughts and your emotions affect the larger energy field around us. That it's a fact that we think a thought, and that thought sends out an electrical signal, and the thoughts that we think and the feelings that we feel are vibrational pulses that we can measure that are affecting the larger field. We can measure it with these instruments, and we know for a fact that we're always affecting everything. And it's all conditioning. We can condition ourselves to feel better consistently. That's infinite power for us to reprogram our brains and bodies to respond to the moment differently, so that when that situation comes at us again, we begin with an open heart and with loving acceptance. No matter what shows up, we're open and able to respond with compassion and with love. And if every one of us in the room does that, we're affecting things in a positive way. A lot of folks aren't doing that, so it's incumbent on us to pick up the slack for others. And we get to be examples for others in that. People see that, and they respond differently. I like to think that my friend I saw outside the co-op that day walked away from that thinking, is he right? Do I have a choice in my thoughts and emotions? I doubt that, but maybe I should look more into that. And it's totally worth it to look more into it. And if you're interested, I recommend Candace Pert's The Molecules of Emotions. I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with that. Maybe go through that again. We can watch What the Bleep Do We Know, a documentary made in the early 2000s that beautifully illustrates how our thoughts and our feelings affect our bodies physiologically and the larger magnetic field around us. So much information about that and how we can monitor our attention and create different feelings in our body and a different experience in our life, because everything we give out, we give back. And if I'm giving out love all day, my future's probably going to be pretty good. And even if it won't, at least I feel good now. It's worth the price of admission. Thank you.
Would one or two people bring forward the baskets for our offering, please? Our community thanks you for your support. Loving Spirit, thank you for this energy that you have put on paper for us so that we can see it and understand it better. Amen. Please join me in saying our church affirmation, which you will find on the white card. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all the members of this fellowship, and we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, we are grateful. All right, Carol needed to leave for work, so we are going to move ahead without another hymn from the hymnal. We are going to join in our circle and sing our closing hymn, which is God Be With You. And someone will say a benediction. But let's make a circle. Like a little closing prayer. Okay. Yeah. Okay, John is going to do our benediction.
Okay. As we move through this week, let us remember that we are empowered to choose our thoughts and our feelings, and let's do that, and let's spread love and joy.